welcome to the Fit and Healthy Today show. And today our topic matter is on hay fever / seasonal allergies. And a lot of my customers have been coming into the store complaining of this now that we're starting to warm up just a tad and we're entering springtime. And so I thought I'd address some of the causes, the symptoms, the diet, and the supplements that can be helpful besides the drugs that everybody seems to lately be recommending, prescribing, and taking. First of all, let's define this so that everybody understands what this is the allergic reaction that we normally see is to non-toxic items in the environment, including pollens, dog dander, because all our doggies start to shed, mold, dust, yeast, venom if you get stung, metals, household chemicals, cosmetics. These can all contribute to what we call hay fever or seasonal allergies. Now, what's interesting is I lumped cosmetics and chemicals down on here because if all of a sudden you have all these other things attacking you in the pollens and molds, and then you add on top of that these other items, you're going to become extremely hypersensitive. So the more things that you have an allergic sensitivity to, it's going to pound and pound on top of each other and you'll see more symptoms. Now, the causes are interesting because they're multifaceted, and most of which we're seeing is because diets are poor, elimination is poor, chemicals filled throughout our food that make us hypersensitive, genetically modified and altered food, so that, for example, I ate a corn product the other day that was not organic. It was chips. I allergically reacted. Now, I'm not allergic to corn. This was in a restaurant. So chances are good that was genetically modified and altered, and who knows, it may have had some fish oil that I'm allergic to or whatever else. But yet I grab a nice little small bowl of corn flakes with my protein shake, no allergic reaction, and they were organic. So we're going to see some other things occurring as our government tends to promote these genetically modified and altered foods, whereby we may not know that there might be common allergens in those foods that could trigger reactions as well too. Poor diet, particularly a diet that's mucus inducing. And I got to tell you, standardly, the American diet is mucus inducing. When we're talking about fast food restaurants, lots of red meat, potatoes, lots of carbohydrates, sugar, soda, chocolate, as in my case, occasionally I delve into that like I did today. Those types of things are full of what we call inflammatory fats. No, those types of inflammatory fats, particularly saturated fats found in meat or meat types of products or dairy products, are inflammatory. They produce something called arachidonic acid, and there was a really phenomenal study done a few years back regarding in which they eliminated these particular items from people's diet, and they put them on basically a vegan diet where they got rid of all the meats, eggs, milk products, all of that, and they put them on vegetables and beans, those types of plant source proteins, rice proteins, things like that. Well, within 15 days, 92% of the people no longer had asthmatic symptoms. So these inflammatory types of fats produce arachidonic acid, which causes our leukotrienes to just go crazy in the body, making us respond. So if you have these problems, you've got to decrease your meat fats. You got to get rid of the French fries from the local fast food restaurant. You got to get those down. Because if you come into my store and ask me what can I do for my allergies, I'm going to tell you to do that in addition to the supplements. Because if we just take the drugs and the supplements, that in and of itself is not going to be enough. You're going to have to reduce the things that are actually increasing the inflammatory response. I've listed here the symptoms that we typically see with this, and it can get bad enough to where you can get a swelling of the throat and the tongue in just two simple hay fevers. But most people are complaining about, you know, they're crying, their eyes are red, they're sneezing, they got a little headache, they're a little bit more tired. That's the typical symptoms that we see with hay fever and seasonal allergies. Now, I mentioned already some of the things that you need to eliminate from your diet if you tend to have allergy or seasonal allergies and hay fever. What we want to eat instead would be non-mucus producing foods, which would be most of your fruits and vegetables, getting rid of citrus. I know a lot of people say I'm doing oranges for my vitamin C, and I'm thinking, yeah, that 25 milligrams of C in that orange is really going to do you a lot of good. It won't even prevent scurvy. So we want to go with non-acidic types of fruits and vegetables. So that would be your standard greens and your cucumbers and your spinach and your celery, you know, your plums, your peaches, your apples, your pears, all of those good fruits and vegetables, lots of beans, and then if you can start eating some more nuts. You know, when I was a kid, my grandma would set out and have a bowl of nuts handy, and all us kids would grab, and by the end of the week it would be all gone. And we didn't have ADD or ADHD or allergies or any of these kinds of things. We just didn't have it. We wouldn't even know what that was if somebody had said something to us about it. Yeah, a couple of kids in our school had asthma, and that was strange to us. Now a good portion of the population of kids have asthma, and the majority is because their diets are poor. They're lacking these good fats. Now, these good fats increase prostaglandin 1 production, which are very anti-inflammatory. So please, whatever nuts you're not allergic to, because, you know, like in my case, I'm allergic to almonds and walnuts, I can't include those, but other types of nuts, we can. Salmon, avocados, those good fats, once again, help. They're anti-inflammatory, and they counteract the effects of all the bad fats that we're eating in their diets. Avoiding sugar, junk food. Now, see, sugar suppresses your immune system, and when you suppress your immune system, your allergies are going to go crazy. So if you're taking a lot of soda, sugars, or whatever, and then you're taking your inhaler to go along with it, it might not be a bad idea to get rid of the sugar in the junk food so that you don't have to use the inhaler so much. Drinking lots of water to thin mucus, and that's not just mucus in the sinuses, but that's mucus throughout the body, because when you become very thick in your lymphatic system, your mucus content all over throughout the body, your body can't deal with these immunoresponse reactions. It just gets clogged up, plugged up, you get more infections, you get swollen glands. So please, lots and lots of water, good, fresh, wholesome, reverse osmosis, purified water would be fantastic. When we're talking about supplements, boy, there's studies on every one of these that I have listed down here. I mean, every single one of them. And I've used the majority of all these, except I have not tried stinging nettles. They all work to some extent. I have allergies, and I'm kind of sensitive to certain things. When my diet is clean and it's good, and I'm not cranking the chocolate or the red meat or that, I don't have them. I don't have reactions. Bottom line, these are the supplements. Homeopathy, simple, cheap little $7, $9, $10 items. They go under the tongue, and actually it was one of the first approved American Medical Association medicines. Very safe while you're pregnant, safe while you're taking other medications. And you can get the homeopathy or homeopathic medicines that are very specific for your symptoms. Most of them have a histamine type of homeopathic that helps you deal with your histamine reactions. They'll have other types of, depending on your symptoms. Now, when we're talking about trying to lessen histamine reaction and decrease mast cell production, besides the diet, here's the supplements that can be very helpful. And there are companies out there that have combinations of these supplements that can help decrease symptoms as well. I know there's a supplement called bromelain sinuses. I can't say the manufacturer, but it contains a combination of bromelain, quercetin, and C, all of which are antihistamine and stop mast cell production. So when we stop the histamine reaction to what the body perceives as a toxic substance that isn't, then obviously then the symptoms go away. Now, what's interesting is you have to do pretty good dosages of these, and with vitamin C, please don't do ascorbic acid. You're going to burn your urine, you could cause kidney stones. don't pull that from your local department store or supermarket. We want to do an ester C or a buffered kind of vitamin C with bioflavonoids, because it's going to stay in the body a longer period of time and it won't cause a burning of the urine because it's a alkali form of C. Quercetin. Every single one of these items I have listed on here has double-blind placebo clinical studies. So don't let anybody tell you, particularly in the medical establishment, that these things aren't studied. And we'll talk about some things that actually were found to be as effective as some of the drugs out there that make you drowsy. Well, we'll just jump down. Like, for example, butterbur. Butterbur extract, now it has to be the right type and it has to contain certain substances in it, was effective as Zyrtec. Now, as I recall from my customers, Zyrtec makes you very, very sleepy. So good luck on working with Zyrtec in your body. But butterbur was found to be as effective as Zyrtec. Stinging nettles, double-blind placebo study, 58% of the people saw a marked decrease in their sneezing and itching. And nettle is an herb, and it comes in a little bottle for about $8, and it can stop some of those reactions that you may be having. Now, remember how I talked about the bad fats increasing inflammatory response? We can take supplements. If you're like me, I have a lot of nuts that I'm allergic to. You can utilize flax oil or fish oil to increase those anti-inflammatory responses, because reduction of inflammation and reduction of histamine means no symptoms. Put those two together. So there's ways that we can do it, and a lot of these come in nowadays. They've come up with magic types of supplements that don't even have a taste to them, that you can take them and increase your body's ability to fight the inflammation. MSM. Now, MSM not only reduces allergic reaction and response, and it's an anti-inflammatory. Interesting enough, it works phenomenally well with C for inflammatory in the joints, vascular system, all kinds of wonderful things. So in combination with C, works great for allergies and inflammatory responses. N-acetylcysteine, and we have 2 local doctors that recommend this. This is one of the strongest antioxidants known to man. I have quite a few of my firefighters or people in petrochemicals like mechanics that take N-acetylcysteine. And what it is, it's an amino acid compound that the body converts in combination with C into something called glutathione. And it renders all these things that the body perceives as toxins inert. In addition, it renders the things that are truly toxins, like cigarette smoke and other things, inert. So it lessens the chances of cancer in that regard, because the body can deal with the situation. But in addition to it having that, increasing the body's ability to react or respond to allergens, it also thins mucus. So if we can do 500 milligrams 2-3 times a day on an empty stomach, we can get that thinning of the mucus, get the immune system to where it's not overly responsive to the allergens. Probiotics, and these are way understated. I have seen more people who get put on antibiotics for long periods of time, or for acne, or for sinus infections, or for ear infections, for every infection, whether it's viral or bacterial. And what happens then is these good bacteria get destroyed in the digestive tract. Now, since 80% of the immune system response is right here, guess what happens when you destroy all the good bacteria? The body is not able to identify a friend from a foe. Besides causing you tons of digestive issues, it can't identify a friend from a foe. So, doing good bacteria to build up the, and it needs to be the right kind. We just don't sit there and down acidophilus, and frankly, these things like I'm seeing, like Good Belly or yogurts or things like that, they got minimal amounts of probiotics. I had someone bring me in a Good Belly and it has 1 million